How many do we have so far, Christina?
12.
If you could go to any restaurant right now, where would you go?
Postino's.
Postino's?
Yep.
Steakhouse.
Oh, well, restaurant, like not the food, like, because we can still get the food, but it like sitting in the space.
Arrowhead Grill.
Postino's is a good one. Got good patio.
Yeah.
Which one though?
I always go to the one on, is it Central and 7? Yeah.
The OG one.
Yep. Hey, Daryl.
Hi, Daryl.
Hey, everyone.
We have a coffee heavy group in here, and during COVID, everybody decided that we needed to shop for unnecessary items. And we have purchased like what's it called?
It's a bun, like a Waffle House coffee maker.
The full blown like Waffle House. How much coffee are we going through?
Like 8 pounds a day.
Sintra,
I have my
sent
little
those 2 tour
Keiko
links
hand
in the chat
sanitizer.
box.
Carry that in your pocket.
What did you say, Christina?
I put those 2 links to the online tour in the chat box, so everyone should have access to them.
Oh, great.
We're at 100, you see, every day this week. 100, 103.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's a good luck to you, number one.
They usually not. They're done on. Yeah.
We give it another minute and then we can roll. We've got quite a few people on the line already.
So we're not here. It's project.
Yeah, Victor's crushing it already.
Really, yeah, she said the kickoff meeting was amazing.
All righty, you guys ready?
Totally.
Okay, let's roll. So thanks all. It looks like we have over 40 people on the line so far, and we had close to 70 register. So I'm sure those will be joining us soon. And I really like that the mix of the group is a lot of the brokers that are in the audience today, as well as city leaders and companies, but mostly Westmark members that are out there today. So we're really excited. Thanks for joining us for this program as we launch it today. It's called The West Valley is Open for Business. This is a virtual course series that's intended to bring projects to you when you can't go to them. And while we're launching this right now in unusual COVID times, this series is really intended to be an ongoing series that we'll continue to do and be able to highlight projects throughout the West Valley, not only to a regional audience, but maybe to a national audience in the near future. So I'm excited that we're going to be hearing about two projects that are in the region today, and extremely grateful to Reliance Management, Venn Companies, and ACOS Medical Group that has stepped up to be the first ones in and kind of test drive this with us. I'm also excited to have this series today, or this event today, moderated by Mike Hoover, who is our resident guru in economic development for the City of Surprise, and also a longtime co-chair of the Westmark Economic Development Committee. Mike and his fellow co-chair, Carla Moran with SRP, no matter what idea I bring to them or what idea comes up at the Westmark table, these two are always enthusiastically ready to launch it, vet it, launch it, and get it going. So they waste no time in getting things done, and I'm going to waste no more time in turning it over to Mike.
Hey, thanks, Sintra, and thank you for putting this together. I even wore a jacket today because I wanted to feel like we were getting back to normal in some capacity here. And one of the things I'm most proud of with really what Westmark is doing for the West Valley is only in this forum with Westmark can you have someone that works in the City of Surprise bragging about a project that technically is in the county, but highly coordinated with the City of Goodyear, and a telemedicine company that's doing incredible work down in Avondale. So I think this is, we have a unique region here in the West Valley, and it's something we're always proud to talk about, and also we're very adaptable. And I want to thank the Westmark team for making this this day available, and really we're excited to have this conversation. So kind of with that, for all of our participants on the call today, between FLITE, Goodyear, and ACOS, really what you have is, kind of a rich history in the West Valley of aerospace manufacturing, and what our friends at FLITE Goodyear are doing to kind of advance that into the next generation. And then really what we're all kind of learning with technology right now, virtual technology, whether it be meetings like this or how we have to communicate with our colleagues and industry partners, is something that ACOS has been working on for a long time in the field of medicine. And so kind of with that, I wanted to kind of open up the discussion to FLITE Goodyear to start with that overview of the great work that they're doing, but also say how critical both of these industries are as foundations for not only the history of the West Valley, but also the future.
And Mike, before we get rolling, I'd just like to make note that if you have questions, please put them in the chat box, and they will be answered at the end of the presentations. And then also for each of the companies presenting, or each of the groups presenting today, you will also have in your chat box either a video or a link that's associated with that company, and you can go ahead and click on that while you're in there, so your questions may be a little bit broader at the end based on beyond what you're seeing on the screen. So go ahead, DJ.
So yeah, do you want to just advance to the next slide, which is the first of our presentation? So I'm DJ Burton. I'm the development manager for Reliance Management. We own and operate roughly 10 million square feet of industrial parks throughout Maricopa, Pima counties. But we're here with Westmark to tell you about a project that's a little different from what we do typically. Next slide. Well, that is FLITE Goodyear. It's situated at the base of the Phoenix Goodyear Airport. FLITE's 1 million square feet of office and industrial space situated on 95 acres. In its previous life, FLITE was Goodyear Aerospace's facility on the Litchfield Naval Air Station. Next slide. Originally built during the Second World War, our site was a manufacturing center for, next slide, various bombers like the B-24, next slide, fighter aircraft such as the Corsair, next slide, After the war, the facility found new roles, including the manufacture of the Goodyear blimp. Next slide. It really established itself as an innovation center for high-tech plastics. Next slide. And radar technology. Next slide. Goodyear Aerospace existed on the site in one form or another for like 70 years. Eventually, they merged into Lockheed Martin, who was our tenant for roughly until roughly 2016, which is about 10 years after we bought the property. Next slide. So you'll see through the next few photos that after they vacated, we were left through with 1 million square feet of buildings that were in dire need of renovation. So you can go to the next slide. You can see here that it was in rough shape, lots of deferred maintenance left by a triple net tenant. You go to the next slide. And everything looked really outdated. Utilities were a mess. Everything was everywhere. So you can go to the next slide. We needed to make the decision whether we were going to blade the property and build new or attempt some kind of renovation. Next slide. I think it's one back. But given, oh, no, keep going. Given the rich history of the campus, we opted to renovate, doubling down and celebrate its past. Through this process, we repositioned our site as FLITE Goodyear, creating really top-of-the-line, unique spaces, which you can see in the next slide, and highlighting the historical architecture, which you can see through the next couple slides, like nothing else in the West Valley. You can see more of these spaces in the next slide as well. So we offer a selection of spaces from 700 to 76,000 square feet for office users. Next slide. Across the 95 acres, we've created a campus environment. Next slide. Next slide. With a wide range of amenities, including various seating areas, a wellness path featuring a lot of different works of public art, inspired by FLITE's aeronautic history. Next slide. Here you can see a rooftop deck. You can go to the next slide. An 80-person conference center. And then you go to the next slide. All surrounded by these vast green spaces we've created throughout the site. Then you go to the next slide. On the interior of the site, we have a lot of water features, outdoor areas for potential tenants, employees, you know, a nice place to come to work and run your company. You can go to the next slide. So FLITE's status as a county island provides an opportunity to meet nearly any power, water, or data requirements. Next slide. We can also take advantage of an expedited permitting process because we're on a county island. We go to the next slide. So we've created this really unique setting. We're just putting the final touches on it now. We're always doing something out here every day. Construction is still going full steam ahead, even during the pandemic. We're creating what will be and is starting to be seen as an icon of the West Valley, and we're excited about it. We're excited to share it with the community. So is there anything you want to add?
So we have about 200, we have 1 million square feet here, and about 700 of it is industrial. We're about 85% leased. There's a 100,000 square foot office building that we turned into a parking garage. It's a former hangar. And we have about 200,000 feet of office space leased. And of that office space, we've leased about 30 to an aeronautic tenant and other tenants taking the other 10. And we're about to create about 40,000 feet of spec space for users ranging from 600 square feet to 4,000 square feet across 2 buildings. our parking garage has 300 spaces, and it's right across, you just have to walk through a breezeway, which we've filled with crazy bright colored furniture, and we have cowlings that we created into chairs. There's just a lot of great artistic stuff going on at FLITE that we really believe will provide a great place for office tenants to come to work and to build an office market that does not exist yet in Goodyear. And that's what we're trying to do. Our rental rates are between $18 and $25 depending on the space, and we're willing to do turnkey spaces for tenants. And the spec spaces that we build out are going to be, just beautiful glass-filled spec spaces. We've done spec spaces for years. We're really good at it, and that's what we're up to. Thank you, and thank you for everybody tuning in. We should have another picture. We have one.
Yeah, we have one after.
Yeah, so that's our iconic water tower, which is exactly the same as the one in Gilbert, and built around the same time. And we light it up every night, and it's become a favorite of the people living in Goodyear to see. It's next to the airport. It's become a favorite of the pilots at the airport on how to get themselves into the airport correctly.
Beautiful. Shilman, thank you for the presentation. A couple quick questions, if it's okay. So Lockheed obviously has a long history in the West Valley. Do they still have a presence in that on that campus there for you?
Lockheed is leaving their last space. They have 2 remaining buildings that they're leaving at the end of May.
Yeah.
And those uses are going to
They're going to New York.
Yeah, to New York. And we have leased of that 30,000 feet, we've leased 20 of it to another aerospace tenant, and we're taking the other 11,000 feet and we're making it into spec space for small tenants, because we believe there's a small tenant market out here. All of our other spaces are for big tenants.
So as far as your marketing for tenants, obviously there's an aerospace bent to the facility, both in kind of feature and function. Are you also seeing tenants that just take an interest in it in general and like the idea of operating out of there, even though they may not be in aerospace?
We have tenants. It's one of the few properties we don't have a church in. So
we have a pretty wide variety of users. Any owner or head of corporate real estate that appreciates history, stops your tour when they come here because they fall in love with it. But we have everywhere from plastics manufacturers to crane manufacturers. We have a financial services tenant. We have aerospace contractors. It's a pretty wide mix here.
We have a golf cart manufacturer.
Yeah. So it's a very, very diverse campus, but the benefit of being on such a large project is you're not having people get in each other's way. You're not having people be too loud for each other. They've found a way to effectively reuse our improved existing facilities.
I think we have about 70 companies already here.
Oh my, that's wonderful. Okay, couple quick questions. So the conference space, obviously that's for your tenants. Are you also using that for community engagement as well?
So we are very friendly with the city of Goodyear, and we like to help them out because they've done a good job helping us out, even though we are in the county. So there are some things that we are opening up to the city, but really it's for the tenants. They take preference. They get a little more than first come, first serve when it comes to scheduling that space.
But we also have done a lot of reach out to the community, and I expect that our Flight Center conference center is going to be used by the community. And I also think that in time, parking garage, which has got 48-foot ceilings.
Yeah, so the parking garage
56
is an old hangar, and it's 40-foot clear, but 60-foot to the deck. So it's this giant space that's completely shaded, which you can close on all 4 sides, and it creates a really unique environment. We could do anything from have a drive-in movie to a farmer's market in there in the middle of the summer.
We were tempted when we heard about all of the high schools that weren't able to do their graduation. We were very tempted to try to figure out how to do that for them, for the, for the Avondale School District, Goodyear School District, but we just felt we weren't quite ready to pull that off.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Hey, well, one last question. So you talked about the renovation. I can imagine sometimes it's easier just to blade it and kind of go from the ground up, but you chose to get involved in some buildings that, let's just say, have some gray on them, and then also the utilities. Can you talk a little bit about that decision-making process, but also your engagement with the utility companies and ultimately the city and the county on how to actually navigate that?
So you do the decision, all the utilities.
So that was a hard decision on whether to blade it or to keep it, because these buildings had been occupied since the 40s, and there was at one time up to 7,000 people working here. And they've done a bit of everything in the buildings, and there was a lot of office space we had to take out because it just was no longer practical. It was also set up for military use, so there was a lot of rabid warren type spaces. There's a lot of secure spaces that just didn't really go with today's tenant. And so it was a hard decision, and I just thought it was the right thing to do. We'll see if it's financially the right thing to do. It's certainly at this time, it's been a great adventure for the company. We've done a lot of things we haven't done before. We're confident on anything. We're probably overconfident, but we're confident that we can do any kind of work. So we'll see. It's so far so good. We created a lot of beautiful spaces.
And then with the utilities, this was a particularly interesting situation because we're in a county island, which means we have an independent substation, an independent wastewater treatment plant, 3 different wells, our own power grid, our own trunk lines for data. So we really do operate several small utility companies in-house. And utilities often have, a 50 to 70 year lifespan. And when I got here in 2016, they were all about 77 years old. So the first 18 months to 2 years that I spent here, we were doing utility work with contractors that typically do work on sites like Luke Air Force Base or Palo Verde Generating Station to bring everything up to a 2020 standard and really offer truly best in class utilities to any of the heavy industrial users that we have. Being a county island created a bit more of a challenge, but the end result was something that not many other people can offer.
And that goes for data as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have great data service here.
I could do an entire conference call on utilities. I don't think Central will let me eat up all the time though.
Yeah, well, I just appreciate that you guys took on that endeavor on both the building and the infrastructure side, and it's just it's great to see that, because the easy button is to just move away from that. So, hey, one quick clarifying question on the parking structure. That's not a new structure. That's the hangar that's been repurposed, or am I incorrect there?
That is the hangar that's been repurposed. The comment that he made was Lockheed built, or Goodyear Aerospace built blimps and planes and all sorts of stuff in there during the 40s and the 50s. As they moved into semiconductors, they actually built laboratories inside the hangar. By the time we got them back, those laboratories were very outdated. So we actually demolished everything inside, cleared it out, and restored it to a hangar, which now houses, 310, maybe 330 parking spaces with functioning doors, brand new lighting, so we can make it, as bright as needed in there. And it really has become kind of an iconic structure on the site. It's hard to miss.
That's fantastic. Well, I also wanted to be able to provide all of our participants today. I think you guys provided a link for a virtual tour, and so that is in the chat box. If anybody wants to watch really kind of this incredible project that's been developing over the last several years. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, we are always here to talk to people in the community. I'm typically here Tuesdays through Fridays, Mondays I'm in the Phoenix office, but I love to show people the work that we've done out here.
Okay, thank you again. So Sintra, do we have a couple questions that are a part of the transition? Are you on mute, Sintra?
Yes, I was. Yes, we have 2 quick survey questions that will pop up on the screen now. And if you can go ahead and just take a couple of minutes or take a few seconds and answer those before we move on to the next presentation. So while you're doing that, as an audience, I would like to thank both Daryl and DJ for presenting today, for showing us this project. I've been to that site a couple of times, and it is really incredibly cool. I highly recommend that folks take the time to go out and check it out, even if you just kind of walk around the property. There's so much artwork out there. There's so many historical pieces that are incorporated on the campus that it just really brings, history together with a very modern look as to what's happening today. So thanks again, Daryl and DJ. And I think we might be at the point, Christina, where we want to move on.
There was a second poll question. Do you want me to pull that one up?
Sure, yeah. And with this series, we certainly plan on getting feedback from the audience, from our Westmark members. Many of you know that we do not take on initiatives unless they are member driven. We really are here to provide service to our members and value. And so some of these tools that we're exploring with this is just to get your feedback, to find out what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of, and just customize it to that. So I appreciate your time in answering the survey questions, and at the end we'll also have poll questions about this webinar too. So it looks like we're ready to go to the next presentation, Christina, yeah? Yep.
I had mentioned earlier, the proud history the West Valley has in healthcare and the incredible work our historical institutions have provided. But for growing communities like Surprise, Avondale, Goodyear, the West Valley in general, to have something like ACOS not only deliver this technology, but actually put a flag in the ground in the West Valley to highlight that technology and service is something personally I'm very proud of, and professionally we want to be able to support you. So Tim, I don't know if you want to kick off the conversation, but I want to thank you again for being on this call today. We're real excited.
I appreciate the invitation. ACOS has been a long thing in the make. We're almost, I believe, 4 years in with our telemedicine platform. We are now a nationwide company. We've grown to so much more than just a telemedicine platform for consumers where we started out at. We are very active in the work comp space throughout the U.S. We've got some pretty big clients that span the entire U.S. We've forged a partnership with Albertsons Safeway stores to bring our technology to their grocery stores. We're located right next to their pharmacies, it's great. You can go see a physician in there that's not physically there, but get your prescription done while you're shopping. They say they're going to they'll put our prescriptions up to the top and filled within 15 minutes. So it gives you enough time to pick up a gallon of milk and some bananas and go back and get your prescription. We are now in the process of taking it to that next level. We're at the ACOS Medical Campus. I'm sure some of the people on this call probably recall me. I presented my project I think it was just about a year ago, maybe a little longer. Had it was a Westmark and CBRE or conference thing that you guys had. I predicted that the West Valley was going to continue to grow. Our building in Avondale is nearing completion. I'm excited to start already talking about what we're doing with our second phase, as well as starting to identify other locations throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area for identical projects to where we can continue to grow our ACOS brand. ACOS has always been grassroots campaign for the Phoenix market. Phoenix is a innovative metropolitan area. I see a lot of stuff coming to Phoenix because of the opportunities that are out here. And it's just been a great experience, a lot of fun putting together what we're building down in Avondale. It'll be great to see multiple locations like this.
Hey, thank
Stephanie
you,
and
Tim.
Nick, you guys want to introduce? I don't know if they want to introduce themselves, our partners, Ben Construction.
Yeah, so I'm Nick Bellman. I'm the owner of Ben Construction and happy to be partners with Tim and ACOS.
Yeah, and I'm Stephanie Fullerson, the Vice President of Project Development at Ben. This is a really exciting project for us. It's several years in the making, and a lot of really strong relationships came together to forge this and to continue to see the evolution of ACOS. Christina, if you want to go to the next slide, what we did is we tried to change it up a little bit. I know we've all done a lot of webinars recently, so we made you a quick little commercial of each brand to introduce ourselves. Hopefully that's a refreshing change for you. So Christina, if you just want to do them back to back, we'll be quiet.
Let's say you're a mom, and your child's latest bike lesson has turned into a bike injury. ACOS will be there, day or night, putting you face to face with the right physician so you can have the answers you need when you need them. Or maybe you're a busy professional who can't afford to miss time from work. With no commutes and no waiting rooms, at ACOS, a virtual doctor is always on call, so you never fall behind. It's time to change the way you do healthcare. Download the ACOS app to your smartphone or tablet and begin speaking with a doctor in minutes.
Thank you for doing that. Next time we'll format our videos so that Kevin on our team actually has a head. So we kind of lost Kevin there in the first part, the learning experience. If you just want to kind of talk through here.
Yeah, so a little bit about Ben. We have obviously a strategic healthcare focus, which is really what kind of attracted us to ACOS and the team over there. We got an opportunity to get involved early, which is really where we seem to find the ability to provide the most value. And ACOS was actually working through a couple of different options, whether or not they were going to develop. Tim, do you want to grab onto that for me for a second and just kind of go through your guys' thought process as to what drove the development?
Yeah, absolutely. So we went down to the Avondale I-10-101 corridor looking for a shelf space to build our second cardiovascular surgery center. We were the first here in Western United States actually to pull cardiovascular services out of the hospital system into an outpatient facility. We were looking to build our second one and unfortunately couldn't find any shelf space that fit our need. So that led us to start looking around for dirt. And I was able to acquire what was the residual of the IMS building development down in Avondale, which allowed me to really springboard and expedite our development down there. We were going to build, 30 or 40,000 square feet, and then the city of Avondale said, "Hey, we really have a need down here." And just the fact that we couldn't find what we were looking for, we identified that that need was, something that there wasn't space down there that people could just readily move into. So we increased the size of the building, and then we took a step back and said, well, we've got almost 10 acres of land. What can we do with it? And that's where we came up with the master plan to do two 68,000 square foot, 3-story identical buildings. We would do it in phases, with the first one, which is almost under completion. And the second one, we're already working on, uses that we're going to put in there. We've got the entire first floor leased up, ready to go. So, there's a lot of good growth that's going on down there. Avondale is a booming area. The West Valley is a booming area. I live on the West Valley, so I see all the growth. I live in Northwest Surprise. I see what's going on just in my neighborhood. It's just ridiculous, the amount of houses that are going up. And, I interviewed a lot of contractors, a lot of architects before I settled on selecting Ben Construction as part of my team. And they've just been great to work with. They're agile. They can think outside the box. They're not stuck on, well, we are who we are, so you need to do it our way. It's been a very great partnership. We've got a few other projects that we're working on together. One in Surprise, one in Deer Valley, North Phoenix area, and the whole Phoenix metropolitan area is opportunity. So we needed somebody that was a long-term partner.
Yeah, we would echo that sentiment. It's been phenomenal. And that last bullet on here, Nick, if you wouldn't mind speaking just kind of the process with the city of Avondale specifically as it related to ACOS.
Yeah, so Avondale's been phenomenal to work with. Specifically, we pulled permits in under 9 weeks on the project, and then also throughout the course of construction, the inspectors and the staff within development has just been phenomenal for us to deal with. So big praises to the Avondale group and their entire team, both in the field and the office.
Mm-hmm. So, we can move
Absolutely. on. Oh, telemedicine moving forward. Wow, this COVID thing, everybody hates it. They're having to work from home. Unfortunately, I'm one of the poor souls that has to go to work every day. I've been working like 12, 15 hours a day because telemedicine is the hot topic for everybody right now. It was great that we were already positioned. We were already, utilizing our platform nationwide. We were already in the process of bringing physicians locally on, giving them a solution for their practice to help keep see more patients, free up their schedule a little bit. And this COVID-19 has just springboarded our platform. We're probably rolling out anywhere between 40 and 50 physician offices here just in Phoenix. Every single day, our call volumes have gone from we were at like 30, maybe 40 calls a day up to north of 700 calls a day. And it happened overnight. Part of our platform is just a web-based HIPAA compliant platform that literally in 10 minutes I can have a physician up and going, utilizing it in their practice, completely HIPAA compliant, unlike some of the platforms that a lot of people are using it's coming out that they're being hacked, and people are inserting themselves into some of these conference calls. And I think after this is all over, I think the whole the way people are seeing physicians, the way people are doing business is going to change. Telemedicine, conference calls are going to be the way of the future. People working remotely from home. I see a need where I'm going to have large call centers where they're staffed with physicians or or medical staff, fielding calls. I think it's going to create a new healthcare model that's just people have talked about, haven't really done much with. It's kind of fast tracking the whole remote physician that everybody was so skeptical about. Next slide.
So a couple of snippets about the building, located off I-10 and 99th Avenue. It's about 68,000 square feet. You're looking at phase one here. It's a 3-story tilled concrete building scheduled for completion in June. Tim, do you want to run through some of the tenant mixes inside the building for me?
Yeah, so currently the first floor is 24/7 urgent care. It's actually, it'll be our second 24/7 urgent care in Arizona. It'll be tied to the very first 24/7 full modality imaging facility. You need an MRI at 2 o'clock in the morning because you're a busy business person that's flying all over the place and you don't have time to go get it any other time. Where your place. That'll be kind of a cool thing. There's also a multi-specialty surgery center where it's outpatient surgery for a variety of different specialties like orthopedics, urology, gynecology, podiatry, ENT, plastics, what have you. The goal with that facility is to provide longer surgical hours to give physicians an alternative to having to go to the main OR at a hospital after, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon because everybody's shutting down. On the third floor, we're going to have a cardiovascular clinic, cardiovascular surgery center, and a timeshare that'll be available for physicians to lease by, they can lease a room by the hour or the clinic by the half day, whatever fills their need. The second floor, I've got 20,000 square feet that's up for grabs right now. Looking for a tenant currently, whether it's somebody needs 20,000 square feet or they need 5,000 or 3,000. Pretty open at this point.
And Christina, if you want to hit play on the video, they can see some of the renderings of the interior spaces as well that Tim just walked through.
So what you guys saw in there is you saw the ACOS urgent care, you saw the multi-specialty surgery center, and the clinic space. I was going to tell you guys each of them, but the video looks like it meets you. So here was the initial master plan of the ACOS Medical Campus down in Avondale. It was, like I said, it was 2 identical 68,000 square foot 3-story buildings. We're excited to get the second building started. We're moving forward full bore. If you've got anybody that's looking for space, have them call us.
Yeah, Christina, as you click to the next slide, one of the things that's really unique if you're a longtime West Valley person, this drone footage is from the best marketing company we've ever found. They turned this beautiful thing around for us. This is a very recent shot, but it's really neat if you have been familiar, even if you just pass these buildings on your way to California, if you're headed west. The IMS building was kind of a lone ranger there for a long time, and it just is something that we all recognize, and we know where it is, we know what it is. So to see this building come next to it and to know the future plan of the campus, it's really exciting because that truly aligns with the city of Avondale's vision of that health tech corridor. So rather than it just being a single standalone facility, it's really becoming a destination place for healthcare, and super accessible on the 10 there. So not only good for local residents and the expanding population growth, and to accommodate the workforce that resides in the West Valley. I know Westmark talks a lot about those numbers and the workforce studies that are supporting those. So not only is it putting healthcare employees closer to their families, closer to their communities for employment options, but it's also bringing a higher level of technology to the Valley. And it just happens to, kick off the brand in the West Valley. And as a former board member of Leadership West and a current board member of Westmark, it's a really exciting time for our region. And this is a kind of a tip of the iceberg for it, I think, all. Christine, if you want to hit play real quick on this video, it's going to show you the overview of the area really recently. And I hope we didn't video you out too much. Michael, hand it over to reiterate Nick's point earlier is that the core completion will be done June 2020, and the interior spaces are ready as well.
Thank you.
And if you're on the north side of the building, the one thing you're going to notice is an unobstructed view of the Northwest Valley mountains. You can see the stadium from there, all from the second and third floor, because you've got a neighborhood across the street that won't obscure your view. So if you've got a client that's looking for a nice window to look out of while they're working, this is your place.
Hey, Tim, this is Mike. Hey, real quick question. This venture is incredible, and I can only imagine if we had 120,000 feet coming out of the ground in Surprise, the excitement we would have just as a community. But for Avondale, this is a big deal. But really, it seems like you're trying to capture that convenience that people want with their medical services. What in your background kind of set you up for this type of venture?
So I've actually, I've been in the medical world for about almost 20 years now. I've been working for surgical specialists in one capacity or another, and was recruited through LinkedIn by a physician that had an idea for a telemedicine platform, and that started me down the technology route. One of the things that I learned from working with this physician is he's quite a serial entrepreneur. He's always looking for that next thing to go after and tackle. And we've had a lot of good conversations of medicine and healthcare out here in Arizona and just in the United States in general. You hear a lot of people talk about socialized medicine in Canada, and what they don't understand is, like, for a normal knee replacement or hip surgery, or even a simple pacemaker that people are getting every day out here in the U.S. I mean, if I needed a pacemaker and I saw my cardiologist today, I guarantee that they could get me in tomorrow or the next day to have it done. That's not how it works in socialized medicine. You get so many devices, you get so many hip procedures, knee procedures per year, and you could be waiting on a waiting list, kind of like we wait for heart transplant or liver transplant. Whether you get it, you don't get it, you have no idea. And people don't understand that about socialized medicine. We're looking at a way to kind of help fix the healthcare system. A lot of people were frustrated with Obamacare, with the lack of access to physicians and procedures and what have you, and health insurance was astronomical. You know, your premiums are going up, your care was going down. We're looking at aspects of how can we help to be a solution, not part of the problem. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring a new model of healthcare to Arizona at a fraction of the cost. That's kind of where this all stemmed for. It's all about, you know, anything that you can do outside of a hospital system is about a third of the cost.
So the convenience and cost is really what the technology is hoping to address. Are there other, for lack of a better word, are there other entrepreneurs like yourself across the country that are doing something similar, or is what ACOS is doing in Avondale unique for the U.S.?
There are a few other people that are trying to do similar things. There was one in New Jersey called Summit Healthcare. They tried to come out here, but they didn't understand the market out here. They were doing really well out in New Jersey. It's a different animal. People don't understand. Phoenix is the biggest small good old boy town out here. And unless you understand that, you understand the dynamics out here, you know, you can try and bring a big city model here, but it doesn't always work. You know, we're trying to provide convenience of care. We're trying to solve some of the pain points of the patients as much as the physicians. You know, insurance companies, hospital systems been in control of healthcare for as long as all of us probably can even think or remember. You know, something's got to change. You can't continue like this. We can't sustain this.
Well, I want to thank you for the overview today, and not only that, but just the incredible work you're doing. I think one of the themes that I think was great for this inaugural sale, Centra, on the virtual tours is you have two companies that one that is recognizing the tradition of the West Valley and repurposing those buildings in an incredible way, and one that's recognizing the future of healthcare and decided to create that hub in the West Valley with a spoke system that's going to take care of really long-term the whole metro. And I want to thank both of you. I want to defer to Christina. Am I supposed to be asking more questions, Christina, on the survey stuff?
I haven't seen any questions come through from attendees, but we do have 2 poll questions that I think Centra wants to mention and then chat while they are up.
Thank you. Centra?
So go ahead and put those questions up for this. So to the audience, you're obviously answering questions related to ACOS. And while you're doing that, I wanted to say something very similar to what Mike said. It is interesting. I met both of those projects independently, obviously, but definitely connected to each other. Stephanie Fogelson with Venn Companies has been leading an effort for Westmark to attract Class A office development in the West Valley. And through that, there was an article in the Phoenix Business Journal regarding this. And Daryl with FLITE actually called me and said, hey, I'd like you to come out and see what I've got going on, because we do in fact have office space currently in the West Valley. And so that's how, they both kind of connected for me. And I was really thrilled again once I went out and saw that project and saw that we have quite a bit of existing office space and a very willing landlord to help get that to what tenants are looking for. And then, like you said, Mike, on the flip side, medical being our key industry, our strongest industry in the West Valley, healthcare, it's great to see that ACOS has taken this step into telemedicine. I started using telemedicine about 6 years ago, and I thought it was the craziest witchcraft I've ever dealt with. It was such a weird concept to call someone, have them call you back instantly, and within 45 minutes you were picking up antibiotics from your pharmacy. And so, but yes, I've gotten obviously really used to it. It does provide a lot of options for people who don't want to go to urgent care and sit amongst others who are sick. it's extremely convenient, and you know, there's always a silver lining in every situation. And I think the silver lining with COVID and the current situation that we're in, ACOS is definitely filling that space and, you know, positioned to continue growing with that. So with that, I think, are we done with the questions, Christina? Do we have all the results? Great.
Yes, we're good.
So with that, you know, again, I would just really like to thank you all for participating. I'm so excited about this. This is something that, you know, when we were working on the Class A attraction, and we still are, when we were working on getting folks out here, we were thinking, well, how do you get them out here? They don't want to get on a bus. They don't want to do this. It's hot. And so again, the silver lining is the situation happened and we were forced to think of something innovative immediately. And here we are. So I think that this is not only a great opportunity for today, but moving on into the future. So hopefully we'll be getting some of you on the line that have projects of your own that would like to highlight. Shoot me an email and share that with me, and we'll get you spotlighted. And I think there's 2 questions at the end of this webinar. I'm gonna just, anyone else, if you guys all wanna say your final parting words or anything.
I would just say thank you.
Cintra,
Christina, thank you for driving. You did a great job.
And Cintra and her team.
Good. Good. I'm glad you all enjoyed it, and thank you for doing this. And again, thanks, Mike. You're just awesome. You and Carla, you take anything on and you make it happen. So appreciate your support.
And thank you for both
Mike.
projects and your investment in the West Valley.
And Mike, we are coming to Surprise soon, so keep your eye out.
Oh, I like it.
And
There
Mike,
you go. You got a
Mike,
project.
we're already in.
Even better. Thank you again.
All right. Bye,
Thank
all.
you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Bye.